encourage you to put your name in a goblet of fire.
And that's why you should never try and search for a free movie on YouTube. Dude, why do you refuse to pay for movies? Well, Netflix keeps raising their bloody prices, don't they? And you don't even want to know what I found when I Googled Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire full free movie. Let me guess.
I got this egg. I've got to keep it warm? Where am I supposed to put it?
Yep, it was a porno. Of course it was. The internet's just 99% AI and porno now. Yeah, that is true. I should know by now. So did you even end up watching the movie? I did actually. The movie starts with a big snake slithering out of someone's mouth. Hang on, are you sure you weren't still watching the porno? No, mate. It's the mouth of a skull. And guess what? It only slithers into a bloody graveyard, doesn't it? Oh, creepy. This is already exciting. What happens next? Well, next up we cut to an old man making a cup of tea. Well, that's not very exciting at all. Nah, mate, it's not at all. But he sees a light turn on at a creepy house on the hill, doesn't he? And then he gets so pissed off that he throws his tea on the bloody ground. That seems a bit dramatic, just because someone turned a light on. Yeah, I think he's one of those annoying environmentalists who lecture people for leaving their lights on for too long. Yeah, that does waste a lot of energy, actually. Shut up. Anyways, the old fella gets a lantern and he walks up to the old creepy house, doesn't he? Oh, and what does he find? Well, that's just it. He sneaks inside and he overhears two blokes arguing. Oh, interesting. Well, what are they arguing about? Well, it's not about who bought the last round down at the pub, let me tell you. It's about some evil plan and it involves a little boy. Uh-oh. This movie doesn't take place on Epstein Island or in P. Diddy's basement, does it? No, mate. We don't know what the bloody plan is yet, do we? Anyways, Doctor Who turns up and he's part of the plan too. Doctor Who? Really? Which one? I don't know, mate. I'm not a fucking nerd. He's the only good one. That's all I know. Ah, David Tennant, the 10th Doctor. Nerd. Anyways, the big snake from earlier slithers past the old man's leg, doesn't it? And no, I'm not talking about the porn star Danny D's big sweaty cock. Gross. Anyways, the door swings open and it's not just Doctor Who in there, is it? Remember old mate from the last film who transformed into a rat just so he could watch Ronno whack off for 12 years? Peter Pettigrew, yeah? Yeah, Peter Pettigrew. He's in there too, isn't he? And both him and Doctor Who are talking to a baby and a snake. Wait, what the hell? Yeah, I have no idea what that's about. Also, it's pretty obvious that the baby is Voldemort. Anyways, the weird baby Voldemort thing speaks to the old fella in a creepy voice and then blasts him with the killing curse. Avada fuck your mother. That is not the spell. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the spell. Anyways, we cut to Potter and he wakes up screaming. And Hermo, she's standing over his bed. That's a bit creepy. Why is she doing that? No idea, but she's freaked out because Hazza has woken up with a big chunky morning wood and he's splooged all over his sheets. Really? They actually show Hazza jizz his sheets in the film? Well, no, but it's heavily implied. Anyways, Hermo wakes up Ronno too, who's also pitching a tent in his pants, and then she storms out of the room. Where's she? Well, that's the thing, right? Hazza, Ronno and Hermo are going on a hike with Arthur Weasley. Ah, he's Ronno's dad who works at the Ministry of Sound, right? Yeah, that's him. And those creepy twins, Fred and George, are with him too. Oh yeah, and their younger sister Ginny, who must be important in the books because she does fuck all in the films. So where are they going? Well, apparently Arthur Weasley has been up all night snorting lines and DJing because he has no clue where they're going at all. So he had Hermo wake them up to take them on a hike, and he doesn't even know where he's going. Well, get this, he's taken them to meet his mate Amos Diggory, who works with him at the Ministry of Sound, and he's there with his son, Sedo, who jumps out of a tree for no reason at all. Sedo? Yeah, he's played by the same actor who plays Edo the Pedo in Twilight. You know, Cedric Diggory. Sedo? Ah, you mean Batman. Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, Amos takes them all up a big hill to see a big smelly boot that looks like it's filled with dead skin and someone's piss. What's up with the boot? Well, that's exactly what Hazza says, right? But apparently it's a port key, which I hope is explained more in the books because you better believe it never fucking is here. And then the old boot transports them to the Quidditch World Championship. Oh, cool. Is that the game that doesn't make any sense because the idea of the golden snitch breaks the game entirely? Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, everyone's sleeping in tents waiting for the tournament to start, like they're gypsies or something, and then Arthur tells the kids to climb into a tiny tent with him. That sounds a bit sus. Yeah, that's what I thought too, but turns out this bloody tent is huge. Way bigger than Danny D's cock. Gross. This tent is crazy. It has like separate bedrooms, a kitchen, and even a sex dungeon. Really? Well, no, but it's heavily implied. You better believe it. Anyways, next up, they're in the stadium, and the Quidditch World Cup is about to start. This film is really jumping from scene to scene. I'm totally lost. Anyways, old mate Malfoy and his dad are there, aren't they? And Malfoy, he's bragging about having better seats than Potter because they're all the way down the bottom while Potter and his mates are all the way up the top. which makes no sense at all because no matter where you sit, barely anyone can see tiny people flying around on broomsticks. Yeah, that is weird. I mean, if anything, the people at the top would be able to see better than the people at the bottom, right? Yeah, it's total bullshit. Anyways, we get introduced to a bunch of international teams, like the Irish team, who are eating potatoes or something, and then the Bulgarians, and everyone's frothing over this guy called Victor Crumb, who is apparently the best seeker in the whole world. Are we supposed to know who that is? He's the only player in the whole game that gets a big intro too, so you better believe he's going to be in the movie again later, right? Yeah, good point. Go on. Well, the game starts, doesn't it? Oh, nice. Do we get some cool Quidditch action? Nah, mate. Apparently the VFX budget wouldn't stretch that far, so we cut to Hazza and the gang celebrating in the tent after the game. So the whole going to the Quidditch World Cup has pretty much been pointless so far then, yeah? Yeah, pretty much. Also, everyone is kind of making fun of Rono because apparently he's got a massive stiffy for this Victor Crumb guy. Oh yeah, and Hazza's haircut in this film, it's totally cooked. Who thought that was a good idea? Your guess is as good as mine, mate, but get this, a bunch of dick eaters show up, don't they? What? And they start setting everyone's tents on fire. Don't you mean Death Eaters? Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, everyone's screaming, and Arthur, he tells the kids to leg it back to the portkey, right? But then we get to see the dick eaters up close, and whoever's doing the costume design was really skirting a little bit too close to those Ku Klux Klan hoods. That's probably not gonna make it to the new series. You're damn right it won't. Anyways, Hazza trips over like an absolute pelican, and then someone running past accidentally kicks him in the head, and he passes out. Jesus Christ, does he get brain damage? Nah, mate, he wakes up totally fine, doesn't he? But get this, the whole city of tents has only fucking burned down, hasn't it? So what, everything except Harry burnt down? How did he survive? No idea. And wouldn't one of the Death Eaters have seen it was Harry Potter and then maybe just taken him to Voldemort or just killed him? Yeah, I think maybe they were special needs Death Eaters because they really did fuck all. All they did was burn some tents down. Oh yeah, and then Doctor Who comes back and he makes this big flaming green skull in the sky. Why the hell would he do that? No idea. I think he's one of those weirdo Necronomicons who like to make love to dead people's skulls. It's actually necrophiliac, and that is gross. Anyways, Hazza's scar starts burning worse than a woman's vagina with a 4-month-old yeast infection. How is that comment somehow worse than the necrophiliac one? Dunno, but get this right. He sees Hazza and he starts to leg it for him. But then Hermo and Rono rock up and they scare him away. Why was he scared away by 2 children? No idea, but then a group of adults rock up and they start emptying their wands onto Hazza and the other kids, right? I know you didn't mean for that to sound gross, but it sounded gross. No, I meant it that way. Anyways, they accuse Hazza of making the giant green skull in the sky, right? You know, the one Doctor Who wants to stick his little wand in. And then Hazza, he's like, piss off, I didn't even do anything. Why are you all so upset? And then Hermo, she's like, it's the dark mark, Harry, you fucking pelican. It's the sign Voldemort used to tag on school desks at school. You know, rather than doing that weird S thing people used to do. Oh, I totally used to do that S too. I wonder who started that. Yeah, no idea. Anyways, a bloke with a really unfortunate Hitler mustache and a terrible French accent rocks up, and he's called Barty Crouch. Anyways, he keeps grilling Hazza till old mate Arthur Weasley gives him some MDMA and tells him to chill the fuck out. That's not going to calm him down at all. He's just going to be up all night listening to trance music and making embarrassing calls to his ex-girlfriends. That's exactly what I was thinking. Anyways, French Hitler runs off, and then we cut to Hazza, Rono, and Hermo on the Hoggies Express. Wait, how are they there now? This film is really burning through plot, isn't it? Yeah, I looked it up in the books and they've smashed through like 11 chapters worth of material in like 10 minutes. Oh, that's impressive. Yeah, but remember the movie makes no sense at all? True, that's not so impressive then. Anyways, an old lady whose womb dried up years ago comes along with the food trolley, doesn't she? And Hazza, he offers to buy Rono and Hermo some food, but then Rono, he tells him to go suck on a greasy fat one. It's a bit rude. Why does he say that? Well, that's just it. Hazza has no clue either, and he thinks maybe Ron is on his period, but Ron's a guy. Yeah, exactly. You don't know what a period is, do you? Piss off. Anyways, Hazza, he sees like the only Asian chick at Hoggies, and then he cracks a massive fat one over her. That's a bit racist. I mean, it might be racist not to get a boner over her if she's the only Asian there, right? I'm not really sure how these things work nowadays. Yeah, true. Go on then. So next up, Hazza's scar starts burning again. You know, worse than that cheap toilet paper they use at McDonald's, burns your asshole. Gross. So what does he do? Well, Hermo, she's like, Harry, you small penis moron! You need to write to Sirius Black and tell him about your scar! Sirius Black? You know, the guy that used to be a performer for Blacked.com. Oh, what's that website about? Stop pretending you don't know what that website is, you pervert. Anyways, Hazza writes a bloody letter to Sirius, doesn't he? Then he gives it to old mate Hedwig, his owl. Then he just throws the owl out of the window of a moving bloody train. He what? Yeah, it's a bloody pelican move. The owl would have no clue what's going on and would probably die. But I think Hazza, he still has brain damage from being hit in the head in the last film, so I'm not surprised. Anyways, they get to Hoggies and a carriage flies into school, being towed by some flying horses. Hang on, flying horses? Have I missed something? Nah, mate, I think Hagrid spiked the drinking water at Hoggies again because all the kids have goofy grins on their faces, and then they think that they see this giant pirate ship pop out of the lake like it's a bloody submarine or something. Is Any of this ever explained? Nah, of course not, mate. So then we cut to the Great Hall, where old mate Dumbledore is giving the students a speech, saying that it's not safe to drink the tap water at school while Hagrid still works there. Yeah, that's fair enough. No idea how he hasn't been arrested yet. Yeah, me too. Anyways, Dumbledore also reckons that Hoggies is going to host a very special event this year. Sounds interesting. What kind of special event? Well, at first I thought maybe it was the Special Olympics or something, but then I remembered that Hoggies doesn't have any wheelchair ramps or disabled people. Yeah, that is weird. Anyways, it turns out it's this rare magical event called the Bi-Wizard Cup that brings together 3 magic schools to compete against each other. Why is it called the Bi-Wizard Cup if there are 3 schools? Well, because you can only compete in the competition if you like both tacos and sausages. Tacos and sausages. Oh, wait, I just got it. So then a bunch of French chicks from an all-girls school called Boobyton, I think it's called, walk in and do a strange dance for some reason. And then every bloke in the hall has to tuck it under their belts. How many boner jokes have we done so far in this episode? Yeah, a few hundred by now, I reckon. Anyways, the headmaster of Boobyton is a giant woman called Madame Maxine, and she gives Hagrid a big old boner, which even by giant standards is pretty bloody big. They actually show Hagrid's cock in the film. Nah, mate, but it's heavily implied. Anyways, then Dumbledore kisses Madame Maxine's fingers in this really creepy way, and then a bunch of blokes from a school called Durmstrang burst in too. And do they do a dance too? Yeah, why the fuck are all these schools dancing? Anyways, they pull out their long staffs while they're dancing, and no, I'm not talking about their meat bananas this time. Finally, he doesn't make a joke about cocks. I think we need to be a bit more sparing with them from now on. Anyways, apparently that lad Victor Crumb goes to this school, and then Ron, he cracks a stiffy so hard that it splits the wood under the table, which gives him a splinter in his foreskin, and then it gets infected. Oh, for God's sake, you couldn't even last 2 seconds. Your girlfriend told me the same thing about you. What? Yeah, but get this, we cut to outside, where this creepy bloke is watching the school in the rain, just like the way your dad used to watch those kids at the local kindergarten. Hang on, what did my dad do? It was all over the papers, you can look it up yourself if you like. Anyways, inside all the teachers are chatting at the teachers' table. Snape and McGonagall are talking about how they barely have any lines in this movie, and then Hagrid, he stabs Professor Flitwick in the hand with a fork. Why would he do that? Well, it's supposed to be funny, you know, because he's so distracted by Madame Maxime's chess melons that he accidentally stabs a fellow teacher, crippling them for life. That doesn't sound very funny. No, it's not really funny at all. And for some reason, Flitwick just looks like a totally different person now, and no one really ever explains why. Yeah. That's weird. Anyways, French Hitler rocks up, and old mate Dumbo says that he's going to explain a few things about the Bi-Wizard Cup. I just looked it up. It's called the Triwizard Cup. Shut up. Okie dokie. Anyways, the enchanted ceiling starts freaking out, worse than Bill Cosby's agent did when he found out the bad news. Yeah, that joke was a stretch, but go on. So the ceiling starts cracking with lightning and thunder, and all the kids, they shit their pants because they're so scared. Then this weird looking dude with a big bung eye rocks up, and he blasts the ceiling with a spell, and then starts necking down this big flask of whiskey. Okay, I don't even know where to start with that one. Who is he? Yeah, Mad Eye Moody. Cool. Who's Mad Eye Moody? Apparently he's some jacked up aura who's famous for taking down a bunch of Voldemort's dick eaters back in the day. You mean Death Eaters? Whatever. Anyways, French Hitler tells everyone that no one under the age of 17 will be able to compete in the Bi-Wizard Cup. And all the kids totally lose their shit, so they start booing him and telling him his mustache hasn't been popular since the Third Reich. That's fair enough. Gotta be pretty bold to rock that type of stash nowadays. Anyways, Dumbo, he tells all the kids to shut the fuck up, right? And then he shows them all his big goblet. Let me guess, you're talking about his cock. No, the bloody goblet of fire, mate. Anyways, he looks at the kids and he goes,
"This means the Triwizard Tournament has officially begun, you little cunts."
There's no way he says cunt. No, he does. He says it like 5 times. McGonagall has to tell him to settle down. Anyways, it cuts to nighttime and the principal of Durmstrang is looking super sus and he sneaks into the room with the goblet of fire. That is suspicious. Well, at first I thought he was sneaking in to have a crank or something. Isn't that a weird place to be doing that? I don't know, maybe he likes to jerk off next to blue flames. There are guys out there with much weirder fetishes, trust me. Look up inflatophilia and you'll see what I mean. I am never gonna do that. That's probably a good decision. Anyways, the next day, Mad Eye is given his first lesson as the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Yeah, but haven't all the Dark Arts teachers tried to kill Harry Potter in some way, shape or form? Yeah, they sure have. So he's evil, right? Well, that's the thing. They want you to think that, don't they? Anyways, he's given a lesson on the 3 unforgivable curses. Oh, you mean like shit, fuck and cunt? Nah, mate, these are spells that are so bad that if you use them, they send you straight to wizard prison. You know, the place where they make you drop the soap on purpose. Damn, that is harsh. So what are these curses then? Well, he starts demonstrating them on this weird looking spider thing. First up is the Imperious Curse, a spell that can make people do anything against their will. That's pretty dark. Yeah, apparently P. Diddy was really good at the Imperious Curse. Anyways, next up he gets old mate Longbottom to come up to the front of the class and he shows him the Cruciatus Curse, which is a torture curse. Wait, he just tortures a student in front of everyone? Nah, mate. At least not yet in the film, anyways. He just does it to that weird spider thing. Anyways, Hermo, she stands up and she's like, "Stop it! Can't you see that Neville has shit himself?" Neville tries to claim that he was under the Imperious curse, but you can tell no one in the class believes him. Anyways, Moody asks Hermo what the last unforgivable curse is, right? But she won't bloody say it, will she? Why not? Yeah, she's too scared, isn't she? Or she's on her period? I'm not really sure. Anyways, he's like, "Avada Kedavra!" And then he shoots green jizz out the end of his wand. Gross. Why is it green? Well, that's just it. It's the killing curse. Moody reckons that only one person has ever survived it, and he's sitting in this very class. Is it Neville? Neville? Nah, mate, it's fucking Hazza Potto. Oh, right, that makes much more sense. Anyways, then he stares at Hazza worse than the priests who the Vatican try to hide from the police stare at young kids. And then he takes another swig of his whiskey. I feel like that can't be whiskey. They're drawing a lot of attention to it. It's got to be some kind of potion, right? Shit, you're right. Well, you're never going to guess what kind of potion. Ah, it's Polyjuice Potion, the one that Hazza used to trick Malfoy in the second film. Well, would you stop guessing? You're going to bloody ruin this. Aw, no fun. Go on then. Anyways, after class, Ron is jizzing himself over Moody, saying that the dude is a living legend. But Hermo, she isn't happy. She's like, "Shut up, Ron, you ginger-pubed virgin! He used the unforgivable curse in class! That was well out of order!" And then Ronno, he's like, "Oh, I'm not a virgin." But everyone knows that's a lie. Anyways, Neville is having a sook about what happened in class, right? And then Moody comes out and he tries to cheer him up, doesn't he? So he offers him a packet of Tim Tams and a hot Milo. That's pretty nice of him. Maybe he's not a bad guy. Yeah, maybe. Anyways, the next scene, all the students are starting to put their names into the Goblet of Fire to try and be the winning contestants who get to play in the trials. Who puts their name in? Well, remember Seto, the guy who's played by Edo the Pedo? Yeah. Well, him, and also that Victor Crumb guy. And get this, after he puts his name in the Goblet of Fire, he gives Hermo the old DTF eyes. I mean, she'd be creeped out by that, right? He's like, way too old for her. Nah, mate, she's only bloody into it. Her knickers are so wet that they start leaking and all the other kids start calling her Niagara Falls. Gross. Anyways, next up, Fred and George have tried to make an aging potion to try and trick the Goblet into letting them compete. But Hermo, she's like, "It's not going to work." But then Fred and George are like, "Shut your mouth, Miss Granger. We can smell your yeast infection from here." Oh no! Oh! Anyways, they reckon they've gotten away with it, but the Goblet only throws them across the bloody room, doesn't it? And then Fred's left nut pops out and it smashes on the stone floor. Ouch. It's always the left nut, isn't it? It really is. Anyways, the movie's really keen to burn through plot, so now we're already at the scene where Dumbo is about to announce the 3 champions for the Triwizard Tournament. Oh, one of them's got to be Harry, right? His name is on every movie after all. Well, yeah, you're right. But it's supposed to be a surprise. Yeah, well, that failed. So who are the other tributes? Victor Crumb and Seto. You mean the only characters we've spent any screen time with? Also not that surprising, is it? Yeah, it's not really surprising at all. Oh, and there's this super hot French chick called Fleur Delacour who's picked as a champion as well. Isn't she like 17 and still in high school? That's a bit out of pocket, isn't it? Well, yeah, but the actress who plays her is like 22 and in no way looks like a high school student. That's a grey area, but I guess I'll allow it. Also, doesn't that make 4 champions? What the hell, dude? Well, that's just it, right? Potter wasn't supposed to be selected, was he? Because he's underage, just like all the people P. Diddy had brought to his house in a bus every night. Gross. So everyone starts shitting bricks, right, and no one knows what to do. And then Ronno, he gets pissed at Hazza for some reason. You know, a reason that I'm sure makes more sense in the books, but it's never fucking explained here. Yeah, I thought they were supposed to be best friends. Yeah, well, apparently in this movie they like each other less than Israel and Palestine. And Dumbledore, he's spewing, right? Even though in the books it says, "And Dumbledore said calmly," he comes at Hazza hard, and he's like, and then he does this Liu Kang bicycle kick into Hazza's face, right? So then all the teachers, they're angrier than my foreskin was after the doctors chopped it off. Wait, a doctor chopped it off? Okay, it was a rabbi, but you're not Jewish. Okay, you got me. It was my dad's mate, Steve. We got drunk and I lost a bet, all right? Okay, fair enough. Anyways, they all think that Hazza has cheated somehow to get his name in the Goblet of Fire. Then old mate Moody steps in to defend him, saying that the type of magic used to deceive the Goblet of Fire is far more complicated than a retard like Potter could have ever pulled off himself. I mean, it was nice of him to defend him, but he really shouldn't be using that word. Oh yeah, it's well out of pocket. Anyways, Moody reckons it was the headmaster of Durmstrang that messed with the Goblet, because he looks like the lead singer of a failed heavy metal band. And then old mate French Hitler comes in, and he's like, "Sacre bleu! This is a binding magical contract. As of this moment, Harry Potter is an official Triwizard champion." I feel like they change spells all the time in this franchise. Why not just make a new spell to undo the previous one? Well, because the writers needed the plot to happen, so they came up with this bullshit, didn't they? Ah, makes sense. Anyways, we cut to Dumbledore's office where all the teachers are gathered because they finally wanted some lines in this film. McGonagall is like, "Albus, you need need to put a stop to this madness right now, and you need to stop using that app Grinder during office hours. But then Dumbledore, he's like,
Oh, piss off, Minerva. We all know that you like pussy, and no, I'm not just saying that because you're an animagus.
well, I never. And then old mate Snape, he's like, perhaps we should just let events unfold on their own. Also, we should deduct 14 trillion points from Gryffindor. And McGonagall, she's not having it, right? So she's like, Albus, put a stop to this right now, just like you put a stop to putting your penis inside Grindelwald's butthole once you found out that he was a genocidal maniac. Ouch, she's got him there. Anyways, Dumbledore agrees with Snape because he smoked a bunch of chuff and he just wants to end the convo so he can hit up the local Macca's drive-thru. I mean, that is fair, although I'm more of a Hungry Jack's guy. Of course you are, wanker. Anyways, Dumbo puts Moody in charge of watching over Potter to make sure that he's safe. Seems like a terrible idea based off their Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher's track record, doesn't it? Oh, you better believe it is. Anyways, next up, Ronno was given Hazza a spraying in the Gryffindor Tower because he's jealous of Hazza being the centre of attention all the time. Seems a bit uncalled for considering Hazza's life has just been put in danger. Oh yeah, Ronno's a massive shit bloke. I think if he didn't have such mad dog parents, Hazza and Hermo probably would have ditched his ass years ago. Yeah, that's true. So what happens next? Well, next up, some chick called Rita Skeeter wants to interview all the champions for the local paper, right? And she starts asking Hazza all kinds of weird questions, like, has he ever kissed a girl and what's his Pornhub search history? Jesus Christ, that information could ruin any man, right? So anyways, Hazza is in the owlery waiting for some mail, which by the way is in its own separate mountain with no discernible entrance. I have no idea how the kids get around this school. Surely you'd be late for like every class. I know. Anyways, he gets a letter from old mate Sirius, blacked.com, and he says that he's sorry that he hasn't written sooner because the ministry is checking all letters going in and out of Hogwarts because they're still trying to find him and send him back to Arsgangbang. So then why did he send him a letter? Because he's a fucking idiot, I guess? Anyways, he's like,
Meet me in the Gryffindor common room tonight, Harry, you prepubescent wanker.
wait, wouldn't that be even more dangerous than sending a letter? Oh, you better believe it is. Anyways, Hazza, he thinks he's tripping harder than Paul Rudd was in this interview. Because SiriusBlack.com's face appears in the fireplace and starts bloody talking to him. What? Yeah, I have no idea what that's about. Anyways, this effect is so bad that it makes She-Hulk look like the Mona Lisa. Got him. So Sirius, he starts asking Hazza about the dream he had at the start of the movie. You know, the one that made him jizz his sheets? He wants to know who the other bloke in the dream was. But I don't think Hazza has actually seen Doctor Who before, so he doesn't recognise him. I mean, he was in Jessica Jones too. That was pretty popular. That show really went downhill after he left, didn't it? It sure did. Anyways, terrible CGI Sirius tells Hazza that people are gunning for him, right? That the bloke, who is the headmaster of Durmstrang, used to be a massive dick-eater for Voldemort. And Sirius reckons that you never stop being a dick-eater once you've had a taste for it. Mate, it's Death Eater. How many times have I got to tell you? Anyways, he also says that old mate French Hitler is a massive cunt because he sold out his own son to the ministry back in the day, and then they threw him in the prison of Arsgangbang. Really? Yeah, mate. Anyways, Sirius disappears because the studio was burning money by the second with that terrible CGI, and then Ronno comes downstairs, and he's upset because he heard Hazza talking, and he was in the middle of having a crank over some mental images of Victor Crumb, wasn't he? Ugh. Anyways, the two of them continue to hate on each other worse than Tupac and Biggie, and then we cut to Neville Longballs and Hazza sitting by the lake. And Neville, he's smoking some gillyweed that he grew in the lake. He's also lent Hazza a book from his auntie that's about underwater magical plants or some bullshit like that. Well, that seems a bit unnecessarily specific. I'm assuming this is going to be important to the plot later, right? Of course it is, mate. Why else would they include it? Anyways, Hermo, Ronno and Ginny rock up, and Hermo is like, Ron asked me to tell you that Parvati said she saw you taking a piss in the girls' bathroom and that you didn't shake properly and got piss stains on your robe. And then she bumped into Hagrid, who said you looked like a specky twat, and also that Hagrid is looking for you. Then Hazza, he's like, what the hell are you on about, Hermione? And then Hermo, she's like, for fuck's sake, Harry, Hagrid is looking for you, and I'm not going to relay any more of yours and Ron's messages. I'm not a fucking owl. That's fair enough. I still don't get why they aren't talking to each other though. I'm not really even sure the writers of the film know it at this point. Anyways, it cuts to nighttime, you know, to breeze through some more plot points that I'm sure were probably crucial in the book, but make no fucking sense here. And then Hagrid, he's dressed to the nines, looking like he's geared up for a date. He's even put moose or dragon jizz in his hair to slick it back. Wait, how do you know that dragon jizz and moose have the same consistency? Shut up, that's why. Anyways, he tells Hazza to hide under the invisibility cloak, doesn't he? And then the two of them walk out to the woods where Hagrid meets Madame Maxine. And it turns out the two of them are sweet on each other, because they're like both part giant or something. And then Hagrid, he's like, ooh, that's not the only thing giant around here. Let me show you me pet dragon. And then he unzips his pants and you can hear his cock hit the ground so hard that it makes Hazza almost lose his balance. And then Madame Maxime, she starts sucking him off, doesn't she? Wait, you're telling me Hagrid actually bangs the head mistress of Beauxbaton right in front of Hazza? Well, no, he doesn't, but trust me, it's heavily implied. Anyways, it turns out what he's really there to show Hazza is a bunch of dragons in cages. Apparently, they're going to be used in the first trial of the Triwizard Tournament. So Hagrid's helping Hazza cheat. Oh yeah, it's a dog move for sure. But remember, Hazza, he's the main character of the franchise. You know, his names are on all the books and the movies and everything, so I guess he just gets to do whatever the fuck he wants. Isn't that a bit unfair to the other students? Anyways, Hagrid mentions that the worst of the dragons is called the Hungarian Horny Tail, and that Ronno's brother Charlie is the one who brought the dragons to Hoggies, and that Ronno knew about the dragons, and that he didn't tell Hazza because he thinks he's a massive tool. I guess that makes sense, go on. So now Hazza, he wants to deck Ronno harder than the whole world wants to deck the Paul brothers for being the biggest wankers in human history. Yeah, I get a sense that not even their own parents like them very much. Yeah, I reckon you're probably right about that. Anyways, the next day at school, everyone's wearing these badges to support Seto as the official school champion. Yeah, but these badges also turn green and they say the words Potter stinks. So everyone's having a great time pointing at Potter, telling him that he stinks like 3-day-old jizz in a used condom that was used in a backdoor scene on Brazzers.com. Gross. Also, why is everyone teasing Potter? Hasn't he stopped Voldemort like 3 times now? He should be a hero. Well, because reasons, I guess. Anyways, Hazza wants to warn old mate Seto about the dragons, you know, because he's a good bloke like that. And Seto, you know, he's a bit taken aback because he thinks this is just a competition and that Hazza and him are rivals, you know, just like Tupac and Biggie. That's the second time you've made that reference. Yeah, I watched this really cool doco on YouTube about him the other day. Okay, fair enough. Also, I thought this was supposed to be a competition. Yeah, but Hazza and Hagrid are totally fucking that up, aren't they? Anyways, Hazza bumps into Ronno and then he tells him that his face looks like a vein on Hulk Hogan's tiny steroid-destroyed penis. Gross. Why do you have to be so specific all the time? I don't know. Ask your mum. Anyways, then Hazza walks past Malfoy, who's in a tree for some reason, and he's like, "Hello, Potter. My father and I have a bet, you see. I think you won't last 10 minutes in this tournament. But my father, he disagrees. He thinks you're a little cunt." That doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, I know, right? This is a weird thing to say. Also, why is everyone jumping out of trees in this film? No idea. I think the director just really likes having people jump down from trees. That's a really weird directing quirk. Yeah, it sure is. Anyways, Potter is like, "I don't care what your father thinks. His pubes are blonder than his eyebrows. Also, he used to suck Voldemort's balls, so there." Got him. Too right. And Malfoy, he's so pissed, right, that when Potter turns his back, he pulls out his wand and goes to curse him. That sneaky bastard. Yeah, but Moody sees him, and then he turns Malfoy into a big ferret and makes him run up Goyle's asshole. Jesus Christ. But then McGonagall sees all this, and she's like, "Alistair, we never use transfiguration as a punishment, you bung-eyed bum sniffer." So then Moody, he tells Hazza to follow him to his office, right? Uh-oh. Is he going to try and kill him? Yeah, that's what I thought, you know, because he looks and acts like a villain. But turns out, he just gives him some bloody good advice on how to beat the dragon. Oh, wait, maybe he isn't a bad guy. Yeah, they really make you second guess it, but yeah, he totally is. Oh, and there's this chest in his office that rumbles and makes groaning sounds when Potter looks at it. Seems like an unnecessary detail. And you and I both know that when an unnecessary detail is shoehorned into a scene, it's going to become important later, right? You're damn right it will. Anyways, Moody tells Hazza to play to his strengths in the first trial. And because his magic eye can see through the walls, he's seen Hazza stroking his little broom, hasn't he? Gross. No, not his cock, mate, his broom. Because Hazza's a really good flyer, isn't he? Well, he's not that good. He ends up in the bloody hospital wing every Quidditch match. Yeah, that's true, actually. Anyways, it cuts to the next day, and it's the day of the first trial, isn't it? And the 4 champions are nervously pacing up and down in a tent, waiting for their turn to go. And you'll never guess who rocks up. Liam Neeson? What? Nah, mate, it's only bloody Hermo, and she sticks her head in the side of the tent, and she's all shocked because she looks down and sees that Hazza is pitching a tent in his pants. Really? Well, no, but it's heavily implied, trust me. Emma Watson always plays this character like she's seen exactly what P. Diddy used to use all those baby lube bottles for. Yeah, she does look a bit surprised all the time, doesn't she? Yeah, she really does. But then guess who rocks up? Sylvester Stallone? What? Why are you so good at guessing plot points and then so fucking awful at guessing character names? He's not even in this franchise, you pelican. All right, settle down, mate. It's only bloody Rita Skeeter, and she sees Hermione trying to give Hazza some last-minute encouragement and says she's going to write a story about how Hermo wants to touch his little Harry Plopper. Gross. But low-key, I think she's kind of onto something. Even J.K. Rowling admits that Ronno is a twat, and Hermo probably should have ended up with Hazza anyway. Yeah, we've talked about this. He's a dud. Hermo would have been better off with bloody Voldemort, I reckon. Yeah, too right. Anyways, old mate Victor Crumb actually has something to do for a change, so he chirps at Rita Skeeter like,
This tent is for champions and friends only. Now be gone with you, or I'll Rita Skeeter all over your robes.
dude, there is way too many jizz and cock jokes. I can't even keep up anymore. Anyways, French Hitler rocks up and he says that he stole some of his wife's eggs because she wouldn't bear him any children anymore. So then he says that each of the champions has to obtain one, and then he makes them all pull a tiny dragon out of a bag, each of which is a small representation of the dragon they'll be up against in the arena. Why didn't he just have them draw cards with their names on it? No idea, but I reckon those tiny dragons were only made for this reason, so I don't know what he does when he's done with them. Probably just flushes them down the toilet or something. Jesus Christ. But get this right, all the other champions, they get to draw their dragons first, and because Hazza is last, he knows that the only dragon left is the Hungarian horny tail. He's so shocked that he even accidentally whispers it to himself.
What's that, boy?
Great, so then they find out he's cheating and he gets kicked out of the tournament, which means he's safe and his problems are over, right? Nah, mate, because there's still an hour left in this film, isn't there? So something has to happen. Really? Shit, even with all the gaps in the story and logic, this is still a pretty long film, isn't it? It sure is. Anyways, all the champions have to face their dragons, right? And Seto, he's up first, isn't he? Oh, snap. We're going to see 4 epic dragon fights, aren't we? Nah, mate, that would be way too expensive. So Warner Brothers told the director to just have Harry sitting in the tent by himself, listening to the fights instead. Ah, that's a bit lame. Oh yeah, it's super lame. Anyways, Hazza's time is finally here, and he walks out of the big tent and into the arena. But guess what? What? There's nothing bloody there. So he walks into the middle of the arena and a big horny tail crashes down behind him. And no, not the kind of horny tail you see in those weird hentai films. What is it with Japanese people and tentacles? No idea, mate, but it's well out of pocket. Anyways, Hazza tries to outrun it like a bloody pelican, doesn't he? But it just throws him around the arena because it's a bloody dragon, isn't it? This sounds crazy dangerous. How are the teachers allowing all of this? Well, they're all spaced out, aren't they? Because Hagrid, he was handing around hash cookies in the staff room. Classic Hagrid. Anyways, Hermo gets tired of watching Potter make an absolute spanner of himself, and then she yells, "You're wand, you fucking idiots!" And then Hazza, he's like, "Accio broom, motherfucker!" And you'll never bloody guess what comes flying into the arena. The spell is Accio broom. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Ah, yeah, true. Anyways, Hazza gets on his broom and starts flying around the dragon like a fly does around cow shit. And the dragon, it only bloody breaks loose from its chains, doesn't it? Since when was it on chains? Oh, sorry, I didn't mention that? Nah. Well, it was on chains and now it's not. You're all caught up, dickhead. Anyways, the dragon chases Hazza all over the castle grounds and onto the castle roof where they have this crazy fight, which, you know, would probably be super shit to watch for all those people sitting back in the arena who can probably only see the empty arena at this point. Yeah, that's true. Surely they have spells that could follow the action on some sort of magic TV screen though, right? No, mate, they just have shitty little binoculars. Anyways, there's this dramatic beat where everyone waits to see if the dragon has ripped Hazza's guts out or not. And then Hazza, he only comes flying over the bloody mountain and grabs French Hitler's wife's egg, doesn't he? I guess he isn't that bad at flying after all. Yeah, I guess not. Anyways, it cuts back to the Gryffindor common room and all the students are cheering around Hazza and the egg. And all those chicks who were teasing Hazza before now totally want to lick his sweaty sausage, don't they? So then everyone is daring Hazza to open the egg, right? You know, because peer pressure is cool at Hogwarts. So he only bloody does it, doesn't he? And what's inside? Well, that's the thing, right? It lets out this high-pitched screech. Anyways, every student in the vicinity's eardrums burst and then their brains drip from their ears and their nose. It's pretty disgusting. Really? Nah, not really, but it's bloody loud. Oh, so Hazza shuts the egg confused, right? Then Ronno, he comes up to Hazza and he wants to apologise. So he's like, "Yeah, all right, Harry. I believe that you didn't put your name in the Goblet of Fire just to become popular so that you could bang my sister." Yeah, but doesn't Harry bang his sister in a later film? Oh yeah, he totally does. Right in front of Ron. It's super weird. Anyways, Ronno and Hazza make up, and then Ronno says that it was actually him who told Hagrid to warn Hazza about the dragons. Oh, so he did care. That's kind of cute. Yeah, I guess so. But then Kiss by a Rose from Seal starts playing, and Ron and Hazza, they totally wank each other off, don't they? Really? Well, nah, but it's heavily implied, trust me. So what happens next? Well, it cuts to the next day, right, and Hazza, Hermo and Ronno are all in the Great Hall eating food, and all the girls, they're frothing Hazza now, right? Then Hazza, he eyes the only Asian chick at school, remember the one from the train at the start, and she's totally giving him the DTF eyes, isn't she? Oh, snap. Hazza is in. Yeah, mate. And then her and her friends set their vibrators to earthquake mode, and the rest of the hall has to look away because, you know, it's pretty awkward, okay? Gross. Then Hermo, she's livid, right? Because Rita Skeeter has written an article saying that she wants to bang Hazza on the casting couch. What's the casting couch? Don't pretend that you don't know what that is, mate. Anyway, some kid called Nigel brings a big package for Ronno, and then he keeps hanging around like a bad smell watching Hazza, like he's going to grow up to become Jeffrey Dahmer or something. Weird. So what does he want? Apparently Ronno promised Nigel that he'd get Hazza's autograph. Anyways, Ronno tells him to piss off, and then he opens up his package. And you're not going to believe what it is. Liam Neeson? The fuck is it with you and Liam Neeson, mate? I don't know, I just think he's cool. Look, after he did about 27 Taken films, I lost all respect for him. Anyways, Ronno's package has these super freaky dress robes in it. You know, the kind of robe that people would wear to go to a party where they wear weird masks and put red balls in their mouth. Yeah, and Ronno, he's super confused, isn't he? He's like, what the bloody hell are these for? But then Hermo, she laughs at him, you know, because he's a cunt. They're dress robes, Ron, you stupid wanker. And Ronno, he's like, for what? So then we cut to McGonagall, who says she's going to show them her big Yule balls. Wait, so McGonagall's a trans woman? What? Oh, sorry, I mean she talks to them about the Yule Ball. It's a dance. But yeah, she does show them her balls too. Gross. And they're so huge that they crack the marble floor when she whips them out. Anyway, she says that the Yule Ball will be held at Christmas and all 3 schools will be in participation. Then she asks for a volunteer to show everyone how to dance. And she only picks bloody Ronno, doesn't she? Poor Ron, he always gets the short straw. Except in this case, he gets the long straw. McGonagall's cock. Gross. And he's wincing because every time they do a dance move, he can feel it brushing past his thigh. I was going to say gross, but I feel like I'm overdoing that in this one. Gonna go with yuck this time. Anyways, Neville, he's super into it, isn't he? And then Hazza and Ronno, they catch him trying to learn how to dance late at night by himself while he watches Wizard Hub on his phone. Anyways, the next day, Ronno and Hazza are spewing because they want to ask a chick to the dance, but they're too chicken shit to do it. But Hazza just took on a dragon. Why is he scared about talking to a girl now? Well, that's exactly what Ronno says, right? But whenever the two of them go up to a group of chicks, they all turn and look at them like their pockets are filled with roofies or something like that, aren't they? Well, Ronno's are. We all know he'd never lose his virginity any other way, right? I think that joke just got us demonetized. Anyways, they both chicken out and then they go have a frustrated wank in the broom closet like a 40-year-old man does who has kids. Then it cuts to Hagrid, who's chatting up Madame Maxime, and she gets so wet between the knees that she eats some leftover food from his beard and then licks it with her finger. This Madame Maxime chick is pretty freaky, huh? Oh yeah, massively. I hear she's big into water play as well. I don't even want to know what that is. You really don't trust me. Anyways, Crumb is working out on the beach and a bunch of chicks are following him around like he's the bloody Beatles or something, but get this, Hermo seems like she's low-key frothing him as well. Good for her. He sounds way better than Ron. Well, except for him looking about 30 years old. Right? Anyways, Ronno and Hazza are having a whinge in the library about not having dates to the Yule Balls, but Snapo, he keeps smacking them in the back of the heads because they're talking in the bloody library. Hang on, since when are the teachers allowed to hit students? I think the rule at Hogwarts is if the kid is a cunt, then I guess you can hit him. Ah, seems like a fair rule. Anyways, the lads are taking solace in at least the fact that old mate Neville won't get a date either, right? That sounds like a safe bet, really. Well, you'd only bloody lose that bet, wouldn't you? Turns out he's got himself a date, and she's got massive knockers and everything. Ah, good for Neville. Yeah. Then Fred and George, just to rub it in further, ask a bird out right in front of them. And it only bloody works, doesn't it? Cheeky bastards. And get this right, Ronno, in a last-ditch effort, asks Hermo to the dance, assuming that no one's asked her either. And she's like, for your information, you ginger-pubed twat, somebody has already asked me, and they have a huge penis as well, both in length and circumference. Oh! Anyways, we cut to old mate Hazza, who sees Cho Chang in the owlery, which is a bit weird because it doesn't really look like she's sending a letter or anything. She's just kind of hanging out in there. Yeah, that's a really good way to get bird flu. Oh, you better believe it is. Anyways, Hazza manages to finally grow a pair, and he just blurts out, Cho, listen, I know you're like the only Asian girl at Hogwarts, but don't worry, I still think you're hot. So would you like come to the Yule Ball with me? And then she's like, did you mean that to sound as racist as it just did, Harry? No, sorry, I'm just nervous, Cho. I can see how nervous you are, Potter. Look at that huge bulge in your pants, you pervert. No, that's just the zipper, Cho. It's all bunched up, I swear. Someone's already asked me to the ball, Potter, so piss off. I don't think that could have gone any worse. Also, was that actually what they said? Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much word for word, I reckon. Anyways, next up we see Ronno, and he looks like he's just shit his pants live on TV or something. What's wrong with him? Well, that's the thing, right? He asked out that super hot French chick, Fleur Delaware, and she told him to piss off and go sit on a greasy fat one. I'm still a bit sus on you thinking she's hot, mate. Yeah, like I said though, the actress, she was 22 at the time, so it's all above board. Yeah, I don't know if I buy that as an excuse, but go on. Well, get this right, the Patil sisters walk past, and they give Hazza the DTFRN eyes, don't they? DTFRN. Down to fuck right now. All right, that's way too complicated, but go on. So then he runs after him, doesn't he? And then we cut to the big night. Everyone is excited about seeing some big Yule balls. You mean go to the Yule Ball, right? Yeah, whatever. Anyways, old mate Hazza only managed to get both him and Ronno a date, hasn't he? But there's a snag. Uh-oh, what's that? Well, Ronno's robes are povo and totally shithouse, so Padma Patil goes drier than an air fryer on full setting. Yuck. Yeah, but then McGonagall rocks up and she drops this bombshell on Hazza. Apparently him and Parvati Patil are supposed to open the Yule Ball with a dance, which is apparently the tradition. But no one bloody told Hazza that, did they? So he starts packing his dax big time, because he dances like a mentally handicapped donkey with a club foot. Always so specific. Then get this, Hermo walks down the stairs in slow motion for some reason, and everyone turns to look at her. Even Hazza, and you'll never guess who's taken her to the dance. Victor Crumb? How did you bloody guess that? Well, he's one of the only people who's been given any screen time in this film, and they have hinted that she likes him a few times now. Yeah, you're right. Anyways, Hazza sees Cho Chang, and she's only going with bloody Seto, isn't she? You know, the guy who plays Edo the Pedo in Twilight. Oh, I didn't see that coming, right? Anyways, Hazza has to do the big dance, and he's fucking it up worse than Joe Biden did when he withdrew from Afghanistan. We don't do politics on this channel, okay? Yeah, sorry, I forgot. He did fuck that up pretty badly though. Anyways, everyone has a chance to dance. Even some of the teachers get into it, don't they? And remember Filch, the bloke who likes to bum his cat? Yeah, he's a weird guy. Well, he only bloody bums his cat right there on the dance floor, doesn't he? Gross. There's no way that happens. Oh, it totally does. And then Neville, he walks onto the dance floor, and he's only gone to the dance with Ronno's bloody sister Ginny, hasn't he? That dirty dog. You know it. And for some reason, he's dressed like Dracula. Yeah, that is weird. Anyways, the ball takes a bit of a turn when the place turns into a mosh pit, and the students all raise Professor Flitwick up into the air and then sacrifice him to the devil. Jesus Christ! Yeah, I know, right? They cut his dick off and everything. And Hazza and Ronno, they're off to the side of the dance, having a sulk. And the Patil sisters, well, they're pissed because from their perspective, they've rocked up to the dance with two of the biggest wankers at Hogwarts. So then two other blokes rock up and steal their virginity right in front of Hazzo and Ronno. And they make them watch. Yuck. And then Ronno, he's greasing off Victor Crumb from across the hall because you can tell he's like super jealous of him being with Hermione. And you can also see that his huge penis is scraping along the floor when he dances, which is also making Ron a bit insecure. I feel like that would kind of hurt. And wouldn't your cock just get all dirty scraping along the ground like that? Probably. So then Hermo, she's all gassed up and leaking from the gash after her dance with Victor Crumb, and she sits down right next to the lads. But Ronno, he gives her a sprayin', saying how his penis is just as good, even if it's got a bend in it, and the foreskin is sealed up so tight that when he pisses, it makes two streams. Sounds very painful. Yeah, you're telling me. So then Hermo runs off and she's like, "Just because you were born with mutated genitals, Ronald, and a terrible personality doesn't mean you can treat me like shit." You tell him, Hermione. Ronno sucks. Yeah, he sure does. Anyways, then she tells Hazza and Ronno to go to bed like she's their mum for some reason, and then the lads sulk off upstairs, and then she breaks down into tears on the steps because Ronno is a massive wanker. But then get this, Hazza has another dream, doesn't he? Just like the one from the start, except this time, Doctor Who shows baby Voldemort a tattoo on his arm, and the thing is moving around. And then everyone looks at Hazza like they can see him watching them in the dream or something. That is weird. Yeah, well that's what Hazza gets for dropping acid right before bed, doesn't he? Anyways, old mate Dracula Neville rocks up and he asks Hazza if he's alright, which is kind of weird because it sort of looks like he was just watching him sleep or something. Also, it kind of looked like he was doing up his zipper just as Hazza woke up. Jesus, is anyone at this school not a total creep? Nah, I don't think so. Anyways, the next day, Hermo is giving Hazza a spraying, telling him that there's only 2 days left till the second trial in the Triwizard Tournament. And then Hazza, he's like, "I bet Victor Crumb has already figured it out." And then Hermo, she goes, "We didn't talk much about the tournament. I was too busy sucking him off. Also, I don't think I like him, and I want to break up with him." That's very confusing messaging on her front. Yeah, I know. Kind of sounds like my ex-girlfriend. She'd tell me she loved me while she was burning me with a hot fire poker. Jesus Christ, did you ever tell anyone about that? Actually, forget I said anything. I think she's listening right now. She told me she tapped my phone. Okay. Moving on then. Anyways, Hermo and Hazza need to figure out how to use French Hitler's wife's egg, or he'll lose the tournament and look like a massive wanker in front of the whole school. No pressure, right? Right? Anyways, you won't believe this. Old mate Seto rocks up, and he only bloody gives Hazza a hint about the egg, doesn't he? Seto, you crafty bastard. Does he tell him how to open it? Nah, mate, of course not. That would have been the smart thing to do. Instead, he gives Hazza a cryptic clue about taking a bath in the prefect's bathroom, doesn't he? What a weirdo. Yeah, too right. Anyways, Hazza takes the egg into the prefect's bathroom and gets naked, and then he takes a bath. But how did he get in there? Yeah, it's never explained. Also, I don't know why he couldn't have done it with some clothes on either. Anyways, you'll never believe who's spying on him just to take a peek at his underage sausage. Rolf Harris? What? Nah, mate. It's Moaning Myrtle. I thought she was confined to the girls' bathroom because that's where the basilisk killed her. Yeah, but I guess they've totally changed that rule now because why the fuck not? Alright then, keep going. Anyways, Myrtle tells Hazza that he has to stick the egg under the water and then stick his head under there. So what happens? The high-pitched shrieking from before? Well, it's only a bloody mermaid song, isn't it? And it tells him that the mermaids have stolen his car and are keeping it at the bottom of the lake. And Hazza is going to get done for insurance fraud. Ouch, that's harsh. Oh yeah, it's mega harsh. Anyways, Hazza pulls his head out of the water and then Myrtle laughs at him, telling him that Seto took a piss in the water and was waiting for Hazza to stick his head under there. That cheeky bastard, right? Anyways, Hermo, Hazza and Ronno are pulling an all-nighter to try and figure out how to give Hazza the ability to breathe underwater for an hour so he can get his stolen car back. But Professor Moody rocks up and tells them all that the trial is only in a few hours' time and that they're all a bunch of pelicans for staying up late because Hazza needs to be fresh in the morning. But get this right, he gets Neville to help Hazza with his books instead, doesn't he? Why does he do that? Surely Hermione is smarter than Neville. Well, she definitely is, but Neville Longballs tells Hazza that not only does gillyweed get you higher than Snoop Dogg on a Wednesday night, it also helps you breathe underwater. Holy crap, I thought Neville was one of those, special needs kids, but turns out he's pretty good, isn't he? Yeah, mate, he's not half bad at all. Anyways, the next day, Fred and George are placing bets on the trial because apparently they've signed a YouTube sponsorship with an online gambling company that's paid for and run by Satan himself. Fuck, I hate those guys. We get emails from them all the time asking to sponsor this channel. Yeah, fuck casinos. Anyways, old mate Neville talked to his local dealers and managed to score some more gillyweed for Hazza to use during the trial. But there's a problem, isn't there? Oh no, does Neville have to join a gang now and do some sort of initiation test? Nah mate, the gillyweed apparently might work differently in fresh water versus salt water. So Hazza might not have a full hour to find his stolen car. Shit, what's he gonna do? Well, he just bloody wings it, doesn't he? Then Dumbledore, he gets on the loudspeaker and talks to the crowds that have gathered on these giant grandstands on the lake that they probably had the elves build with slave labor the night before because we've never fucking seen them before. Yeah, that's true. I reckon Dumbledore works those elves harder than Apple does those tiny Chinese kids who work at the iPhone factories. Oh yeah, way harder. Anyways, the trial starts and the champions all jump in the lake, don't they? But Hazza, he's freaking out. He's taken the gillyweed and it looks like he's about to have a bad trip. Oh no, what happens? Well, Moody just kicks him in the bloody water, doesn't he? Jesus Christ, I'm starting to think he isn't a good guy after all. Yeah, I mean, he totally isn't. It's super obvious. Anyways, Hazza doesn't drown though. He only bloody grows some gills, doesn't he? Wait, how does he do that? Ah, gillyweed. I just got it, never mind. Anyways, Neville starts freaking out. He's like, oh my God, I've killed Harry Potter. It's all happening again. Jesus, Neville has some problems, doesn't he? Yeah, mate, big time. Anyways, Hazza only grows flippers and does this super sick backflip out of the water in front of everyone, doesn't he? So it turns out Neville was freaking out for no reason at all. Yeah, true. I mean, I don't know how he has flippers now or why he wasted valuable time in the trial doing a flip out of the water just to show off to everyone, but go on. Yeah, that's a good point. Anyways, Hazza, he's swimming at the bottom of the lake and he sees that super hot French chick, Fleur Delacour, get kidnapped by a bunch of underwater junkies. Oh my God, does he help her? Nah, mate, of course not. Then Dumbledore says that Fleur has lost the trial because now she's being held for ransom by a bunch of Explais who want to use the ransom money to buy themselves some Yeezys. Yeezys? Those are a bit problematic nowadays, aren't they? Yeah, but they're Explais, so fuck them. Anyways, Hazza follows a mermaid all the way to this huge mermaid city under the water, and you'll never bloody believe what he finds there. His stolen car? Nah, mate, turns out the mermaids have tricked him. They've only bloody stolen Ronno, Hermo, Cho Chang and Fleur's sister and strung them up in the town square like some sort of weird Taliban mermaid execution or something. Also, they have these really terrible dummies in place of the actors because the movie obviously didn't want to risk drowning any of the actual cast. Fuck, that is really bad. Yeah, mate. Anyway, Seto comes, doesn't he? And he rescues Cho Chang, and then he looks at Hazza and taps his watch as if to say, hurry up, cunt. So Hazza, he unties Ronno, but then he feels bad about leaving Hermo and Fleur's sister behind, doesn't he? Yeah, what a good bloke. Kind of feel like Seto's a bit of an asshole for not helping him. Anyways, the mermaids, they aren't having it, are they? Apparently he's only allowed to take Ronno because the other two are for the other two champions, right? Well, not to worry because old mate Victor Crumb rocks up and he saves Hermo. Whew. Also, he has the head of the shark now apparently, but don't worry, that's never explained, so don't fucking worry about it. Anyways, Hazza goes to take Ronno, but he can't see Fleur anywhere, and he doesn't want to leave her little sister to get molested by the mer people, does he? Shit, so what does he do? So Hazza, he's just like, fuck it, and then he grabs the both of them, and the mer people, they freak the fuck out, don't they? And they send these little weird mutant squid babies after Hazza to try and drag him down to the bottom of the lake. Jesus. Also, where did all these squid babies come from? Never explained. Anyways, Hazza manages to fight them all off because he's been doing push-ups in the mornings and now he's low-key jacked. And then he uses this spell that I'm pretty sure they made up just for this film and is never seen again called Ascendio, and he just shoots himself out of the water like he's a rocket or something. And Moody, he's been pacing backwards and forwards like he's on Elon Musk levels of ketamine, and then he pumps his fist in the air, happy to see that Hazza is still alive. This guy's just all over the place, isn't he? Is he good or bad? He sure is, mate. Anyways, Dumbledore announces Seto has won the trial, but all the judges have agreed to give Hazza second place, even though he finished in last, because he didn't want to leave the other students for dead, just like the other two cunts. Then Fleur, who's leaking between the legs now because Hazza saved her little sister, gives Hazza a big old sloppy kiss. Nice one. Guess things are looking pretty up for Hazza now. Yeah, and then everyone cheers, except for Malfoy, who's pissed off that this is only his second appearance in this movie. Anyways, Hazza is celebrating with the lads, and he's approached by old mate French Hitler, who lures him away for a secret walk in the woods. That's a little bit sus. Very sus indeed. But Moody, he interrupts their sus little walk, and he starts having a go at old mate French Hitler, doesn't he? But then he starts licking the side of his face, and old mate French Hitler sees this, and he freaks the fuck out. Why does he do that? No idea. I feel like a lot of this stuff might be explained in the book, and maybe there's actually a genuine mystery there. But in the movie, it all just kind of comes together like a kid at a special needs school's finger painting. Well, what's that supposed to mean? I'm saying the writing is shithouse. All right, yeah, fair enough. Anyways, it's nighttime now, and Hagrid has taken Hermo, Ronno, and Hazza for a stroll in the Forbidden Forest. Well, why would he put them in danger like that? Yeah, no idea. Hagrid is a psycho. Anyways, Hazza walks off to take a piss, and you'll never guess what he bloody finds. A shiny Charizard card? What? Nah, mate. That would be worth more than the budget of this entire film. He only finds French Hitler's body, doesn't he? Ooh, shit. Right after he was having a fight with Moody. That's a bit suspicious. Very suspicious indeed, mate. Anyways, Dumbledore and Cornelius Fudgepacker are having a fight about whether or not to cancel the tournament. I thought Dumbledore was fine to use him as bait, and that he had to compete because it was a binding magical agreement. Yeah, but the writer forgot about that part, so now this is happening. Anyways, Moody is like, lads, you better stop your whinging. Potter is standing outside the bloody door, and I can see him with my weird freaky eye. So old mate Dumbledore, he kicks out Fudgepacker and tells him to go sit on a greasy fat one. And then Moody closes the door, giving Hazza this really intense stare. The kind of stare that Harvey Weinstein gave to all his accusers. You know the one I'm talking about. That is creepy. What's he playing at? No idea. Oh yeah, and old mate Dumbledore says to Hazza, feel free to help yourself to some licorice snaps while I'm gone, but be careful.
They're a bit sharp, you bloody wanker.
Then what happens? Well, Hazza goes to try the licorice snaps, and then they turn into these little demon things and they try to bite his dick off. What the fuck is wrong with Dumbledore? It's like he wants Hazza to die. Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, Hazza, he manages to fight all the little cunts off, and when he does, he accidentally triggers a secret switch, which opens a door, revealing a bowl of this glowing blue liquid. Well, that sounds dangerous. Hazza leaves it alone, right? No, he only bloody sticks his face into it, doesn't he? What a dickhead. Yeah, right? Anyways, Hazza is transported back in time to the Ministry of Sound, where old mate Dumbledore is watching French Hitler cast the verdict down on a prisoner. Ah, interesting. Who's the prisoner? It's only the bloody head of Durmstrang, isn't it? Kokoroff, I think his name is. Really? You better believe it. And he's given away all the names of the previous Dick Eaters to try and get himself off the hook. Sneaky bastard. Yeah, super sneaky. But get this, sneaky Durmstrang says Severus Snape is still a Dick Eater. Wait, did we already know that? Yeah, I can't really remember, to be honest. But get this, old mate Dumbledore stands up and says Snape'o swapped sides a while back, and now he's been working for him as an undercover informant. Damn, that Snape'o, he's always up to something, isn't he? You're bloody right he is. Anyways, Durmstrang reckons that Snape'o, he's still faithful to the Dark Lord, isn't he? But French Hitler and Dumbo, they don't want to hear a bad word about him. So Durmstrang says he has one more name to give them. Someone who's been working for Voldemort and tortured Neville's parents. Wait, Neville's parents were tortured? When did that happen? Yeah, I think it's a really big part of the books, but they breeze past it super quick here, don't they? Anyways, the important thing is bloody Doctor Who is sitting in the crowd, and he starts to get nervous, so he tries to sneak out. But then guess what? He's none other than French Hitler's son, isn't he? Really? Ah, that's right. They did say that he turned his son into the ministry earlier on, didn't they? Too right, they did. Anyways, Doctor Who, French Hitler's son, keeps licking the side of his face. And then French Hitler is like, Sacre bleu, you are no son of man. Then Hazza, he rips his head out of the magic water, which kind of looks like secondhand toilet water. And Dumbo, he's only bloody standing right next to him, isn't he? Oh no, is he pissed off that he used his secret toilet bowl thing? No mate, he's only bloody chill about it, isn't he? And then he says to Hazza that it's called a pensieve, and it helps him organise his thoughts and relive old memories. Which is a bit weird because I always thought it was pronounced pensive. I thought you hadn't seen these films. I haven't. Okay, that's confusing. Go on. Well, Hazza, he starts asking Dumbledore about French Hitler's son, doesn't he? And Dumbledore, he's like,
What are you on about, Harry? Have you been smoking gillyweed again?
Then Hazza, he's like, I had a dream about him. And then Dumbledore's like,
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. You see, I myself am gay. I prefer the sausage to the taco, or the sword to the sheath, the snake to the batch.
No, that's not what I mean at all, you idiot. I mean this dream I had about a graveyard, a creepy house, and baby Voldemort, and French Hitler's son was there. Then Dumbledore, he looks concerned, and he's like,
Why didn't you tell me about this earlier, you bloody pelican? Have you had this dream before?
And then Hazza, he tells him he's had this dream like 40,000 times. Jesus Christ, what does Dumbledore say? Well, Dumbo says,
It's unwise to linger on dreams, Harry, unless of course they have big boobies in them, in which case, linger all you like.
So then Hazza, he leaves Dumbledore's office, super confused, right? That is confusing. If he's gay, then why does he have dreams with lots of boobies in them? No idea. Anyways, Hazza walks past Snape's office and he's having an argument with old mate Durmstrang, isn't he? Apparently Durmstrang, he's asking if Snapo has seen the signs, and he's super worried. Very suspicious. Those two were both Death Eaters after all. Nah, it's Dick Eaters. No, it isn't. Anyways, Durmstrang storms off and Snapo starts grilling Hazza.
Gillyweed, Mr. Potter.
Your point being, you big-nosed twat?
I've seen you and your little friends playing hacky-sack and reading Karl Marx.
What the hell are you on about?
Don't lie to me, you little shit! You stole that gillyweed just like you're stealing ingredients to make polyjuice potion, aren't you?
But Hazza isn't making any polyjuice potion. Yeah, exactly. Oh, snap. I just figured it out. Doctor Who is pretending to be Moody because both of them are always licking their faces, right? Fuck. Come on, man. The film doesn't reveal that for like another 30 minutes. Well, just pretend I didn't say anything. Nah, mate, you fucking ruined it. Just like you ruined your parents' life the day that abortion failed. That's a bit harsh, mate. Well, luckily that's not all that happens. So, let's keep going, shall we? Fine with me. All right then. So, the next day, it's finally here. The final task for the Triwizard Tournament. Wow, this task really snuck up out of nowhere. Wasn't even a build-up to this one or anything. Yeah, I get the feeling they've skipped a shitload of story here. Come on then, what's the bloody task, mate? You're killing me here. Well, they saved the best for last, didn't they? It's a hedge maze. A hedge maze? Is that it? Yeah, it is a bit underwhelming, isn't it? Anyways, apparently the Triwizard Cup is at the centre and Hazza and Seto get to go in first because they're tied for first place. And then Crumb and Fleur get to go in afterwards. But you'll never guess who placed the cup at the centre of the maze. Is it Moody? Yeah, that's right, mate. And Crumb sees Moody sneaking out of the bushes looking super sus. That's very sus. Anyways, Dumbledore says that anyone who wants to be a little bitch and chicken out can shoot up red sparks into the air with their wands and the teachers will come and get them. So then all of the contestants, they go to their separate entrances and Seto's dad gives him a hug and says,
I love you, Cedric. Please don't die in the maze. Your mother and I are counting on your paychecks from the rest of the films to stop the bank from repossessing our house.
That seems oddly specific. Oh yeah, it totally is. Anyways, Dumbledore goes to count down from 3, but old mate Filch blows his load early, doesn't he? You know, because he's been wanking his cat off. So the starter gun fires early and all the contestants run into the bloody maze. Whoa, this is getting exciting. And Hazza, he takes one look back at Moody and he gives Hazza a sneaky hint as to which direction he needs to go in, doesn't he? That sneaky bastard. Anyways, the camera pans up and it looks like the maze goes for like 40,000 kilometers. Oh shit. It'll take them weeks. Also, how is the crowd gathered outside supposed to see any of what's actually going on inside the maze? Yeah, no idea, mate. Binoculars? Nothing at their school makes any sense at all. Anyways, we cut to all the other contestants and something is lurking in the maze trying to take them all out. And Seto, he almost gets crushed by the maze because it's sort of coming alive or something. And Victor Crumb is snatched by this dark figure and then he's turned into a zombie. And is that ever explained? Oh, you better believe it's not. Anyways, then we see something sneak up on Fleur and bite her on the left vagina flap. I've heard that's the most sensitive one. Yeah, same here. Anyways, Hazza, he hears her scream. And then we see that it's zombie Victor Crumb who's actually taken her out. Then things take a turn when these weird hentai tentacles try to pull her into the bushes. Why are there so many hentai tentacles in this franchise? No idea. But get this, then Crumb, he finds Hazza. But he only lets him bloody go, doesn't he? And then Hazza, he finds Fleur, who's got hentai tentacles right up to the back of her teeth. Yuck. Then Crumb comes back and he tries to kill Hazza. But Seto only bloody saves him, doesn't he? Didn't he just let him go? That makes zero sense. Don't I know it? Anyways, Hazza is like, no, Cedric, he's bewitched or something. He doesn't know what he's doing. Let him go. And then Seto, he's like,
yeah, all right, Potter. I'm going to trust you, but you better not be leading me to my death because my parents need the money from the rest of the franchise to pay off their gambling debts.
Which again is super specific, but I guess that's just how the Diggories roll. So then Seto and Hazza, they start legging it to try and beat each other to the Triwizard Cup first. How do they even know it's nearby? That sounds like a massive waste of energy. Yeah, I know, right? But I think the director was really just wanting to wrap shit up at this stage. Fair enough, this video is getting pretty long. Yeah, you better believe it is. If you're still watching this, there's probably something wrong with you. Anyways, Hazza and Seto, they're legging it at full speed, and the maze comes to life again, and it tries to stop them with more of those weird hentai tentacle things. And then Seto, he only bloody trips over, and those tentacles They really start giving it to him, don't they? And then Seto screams and he's like, "Oh, help, Harry, my arse. I can feel it in my lower intestine." Whoa, that sounds pretty painful. I know, right? Anyways, Hazza has a choice to make. Go and grab the Bi-Wizard Cup and win, or go back and help Seto. So he just grabs the cup, right? I mean, the teachers wouldn't let a student die in the tournament. Yeah, I'm not really too sure about that. Dumbledore is a cunt after all. Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Anyways, Hazza only goes back to bloody help Seto, doesn't he? Oh, well, I guess it is the nice thing to do. You won't be thinking that in a few minutes, trust me. Anyways, he saves Seto and the two of them agree to take the cup together and make it a tie. So then they manage to grab the cup just as the maze looks like it's about to disappear up its own asshole, just like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have. Come on, mate, no politics. It is true though, they are both wankers. Anyways, the cup doesn't take them back to the start of the maze, does it? It doesn't? No, mate, it takes them to a graveyard. The same bloody graveyard from Hazza's dream. So the cup was a port key. Moody set him up. You're damn right he did, and guess what? The port key's only bloody taken him to Tom fucking Riddle's grave, hasn't it? Oh no, that's Voldemort's name, before he became Voldemort. Yeah, the name he wrote in the sky just to spell it out to Hazza because he was too fucking thick to get what he was talking about. Anyways, then Peter the Pedo Pettigrew rocks up, and then Hazza's scar starts burning worse than that untreated STI that's clogging up my urethra. Why do you have so many STIs and STDs? Anyways, Hazza, he goes, "Cedric, get back to the cup. You're going to die, and you won't be in the rest of the movies if you don't listen to me right now." And Cedric, he's like, "What are you on about, Potter? Are you smoking gillyweed again?" So Peter Pedo, he only bloody kills Seto, doesn't he? Oh no, not Seto. I know, right? Anyways, Peter Pedo chains Hazza to a statue and then dumps baby Voldemort into a cauldron. Then he chops off his own bloody hand. Wait, what the hell is he playing at? I don't know, I think he's on drugs or something. Anyways, then Peter Pedo cuts Hazza's arm and puts the blood into the cauldron, and then there's this super gross transformation sequence where Voldemort transforms from a baby into a full-grown man. This series has really gotten to a point where it feels like it's saying, "Fuck you, I'm not a kids franchise anymore." And then he starts rubbing his head like it's the tip of an uncircumcised penis for some reason. Anyways, then Voldemort makes Peter Pettigrew touch the tattoo on his arm, just like the one Doctor Who had on his arm earlier, and then all the dick eaters, they're summoned to the graveyard, aren't they? Hazza is up shit creek now. Yeah, and they're all wearing these super weird masks. You know, like they're going to that weird party in that Stanley Kubrick film Eyes Wide Shut. I'm pretty sure I jerked off to that film back in the day. I did too. No one had any porn or internet back then. What were we supposed to do? Anyways, Voldemort, he starts giving his followers a spraying, doesn't he? He's like,
"Not one of you bastards tried to find me! Crabbe, Goyle, McNair, not even you, Lucius."
oh shit, so Malfoy's dad is a Death Eater. Yeah, I mean, that's been pretty obvious since the first time we met him though, right? Yeah, that's true, we did already know that. Anyways, then Voldemort's like,
"Do you have any idea how hard it is to live life as a weird baby thing? I couldn't find any clothes that fit me. You try going to Target and saying, 'Hey, do you have any clothes for a magical half-dead baby?' The store clerk looked at me like I was crazy."
and then Lucius, he's like,
"Sir, please believe me. I set up a website called AskJeeves.com so that I could trace any web searches for people using the words Voldemort or the Dark Lord. I tried."
but Voldemort, he's not having it. He's like,
"And where is Ask Jeeves now, huh? And AOL? Your entrepreneurial instincts are terrible, Lucius."
that's such an old reference. No one's gonna know what Ask Jeeves is, man. Shut up. Anyways, then Voldemort starts laughing at Seto's corpse because he shit himself when he died, which is apparently a real thing, by the way. Yeah, I know. You tell me like every day. Anyways, then Potter, he tells him to piss off and go sit on a greasy fat one. And then Voldemort, he isn't having that, so he turns to his dick eaters and he's like,
"You see, Harry's mum protected him with some old magic. It caught me off guard, if I'm honest. Made me look like a right twat. Boy, was my face red. But things have changed now. I can touch you, Harry. Want me to touch you?"
What the fuck? Why is the first thing he wants to do when he gets back from the dead is touch a schoolboy? Don't know, maybe he was hiding in the Vatican all these years. Anyways, Hazza tells him how great it is to have a nose, and that pisses Voldemort right off. So he only bloody challenges Hazza to a duel, doesn't he? Wait, Potter versus Voldemort? He only knows how to use Expelliarmus. He's gonna get minced. Oh, I know. But he only bloody beats him, doesn't he? What? Yeah, and then Hazza's wand starts tripping out, and then the ghost of Cedric, the old fella from the start, and Hazza's parents all come out of the end of it. Wait, what? And then they start taunting Voldemort as well. telling him that he's got no nose and no penis. So you're saying he's like a Ken doll down there? Yeah, I mean, they never actually say that, but it's heavily implied. It's heavily implied. Anyways, then Hazza legs it, and Voldemort, he's like,
Stop him, you fools, or there'll be no Death Eater reunion cake for anyone.
so they all leg it after him, but Hazza, he makes it to the portkey, doesn't he? But he doesn't leave just yet. Idiot. Why not? Well, because Seto's ghost tells him to take his body back to his dad, doesn't he? Maybe he can claim it on insurance or something. Is any of this ever explained? Yeah, of course not. Anyways, Hazza, he's transported back to the start of the maze, and everyone starts cheering, thinking he won the Bi-Wizard Cup, right? But then everyone smells the shit in Seto's pants, and they start freaking out because they realise that he's dead. And also that he smells like shit, right? Oh yeah, that too. So Seto's dad, he's gutted. He really wanted that franchise money. And then Moody, he takes Hazza while everyone's distracted, and he locks him in his office. And then he goes to neck from that flask he's been drinking from, and it's empty. So he starts freaking out. Because he's the French guy's son, and he's been using Polyjuice Potion to hide in plain sight at Hogwarts. We already guessed that already. Yeah, that's true. Then Hazza, he goes, "It was you all along, wasn't it? You put my name in the Goblet of Fire." And then Moody, he's like,
Oh, come on, Potter, you daft prick. Everyone's figured that out already, haven't they? Now come on, let's skip this scene because we all know what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you about my plans like all the villains do in this series, rather than killing you when I have the chance. And then something's going to come up and save you at the last minute because you're too bloody useless to save yourself.
I mean, he's kind of got a point, right? Yeah, it literally happens in every movie. So then Dumbledore storms in and he kicks fake Moody's ass, and he finds the real Moody who has been trapped inside that case that was making weird noises earlier on. And then Moody, he changes into French Hitler's son, Doctor Who. And let me tell you, this transformation is even more intense than Voldemort's. Yeah, that's really messed up. Anyways, then Doctor Who, he tells them all that Voldemort's back and he wants revenge. And then Dumbledore tells him to jog on and go sit on a crooked, slimy, fat one. Yuck. So then Dumbledore gives a big speech to the students about how they're all going to miss Cedric and how much everyone loved him. Even though we hadn't seen him in any of the previous movies, and I don't think half the people even know who the fuck he is. Yeah, that's true. How does he square that hole? Yeah, he doesn't. He just goes on about how the Ministry doesn't actually want him to tell anyone that Voldemort is back. And that the first thing Voldemort did when he got back into power is graffiti a big 5-foot penis on the front door of Hogwarts Castle. That's a classic prank, that one. Oh, it sure is. So the children, they're all shocked, right? Especially because it was a super detailed penis. It had veins on it and everything. Yuck. Anyways, Dumbledore and Hazza, they're chatting afterwards, aren't they? And Dumbledore tells him that he's sorry for putting him in danger this year. And then Hazza forgives him because he's a little bitch like that. And then Dumbledore's like,
Remember, Harry, you're not alone.
even though he literally left him to fend for himself the entire movie. What a cunt, right? Anyways, all the students from all the other schools, they're saying goodbye. And the hot French chick, Fleur, and her sister give Ron a big sloppy kiss for some reason, even though they literally had nothing to do with him for the whole film, so he bars up in his robes and then everyone laughs at him. Fair enough, boners are pretty funny. Pretty much how this channel makes all its money. Then Victor Crumb, he asks Hermo to write to him, because apparently the internet in Bulgaria is super shit and he needs something to whack off to. It can't be worse than Australian internet. Mate, nothing is worse than Australian internet. Antarctica has better internet than us. Anyways, Hermo, she starts having a massive whinge because she thinks everything is going to change from now on. So she asks Hazza and Ronno to write to her every week, even though they have magic owls, portkeys, and the flu network, so they could probably just see each other face to face. True, why don't they ever talk to each other after the school year ends? No idea. But then Hazza, he writes his letter and he says, if you like this video, leave a comment for the algorithm, and watch this video right here, or don't, whatever.